An 82-year-old veteran enters Judge Caprio's court for a basic parking citation. However, when he pulls up his sleeves and shows what has been concealed for 6 decades, Judge Caprio takes an action no American judge has ever taken previously. I assure you, what you are going to see will render you utterly without words. This account shattered the web, brought tears to adult men's eyes, and altered legislation across several states. But before we proceed, a mere 4% of viewers are currently subscribed. Therefore, hit that subscribe button, since this story is set to explode everywhere, and you will not want to miss the upcoming events. Believe me when I tell you this. By the conclusion of this video, you will comprehend why this one moment in a Providence court turned into one of the most circulated videos in online history.
It is a chilly Tuesday morning in February, and Providence Municipal Court is active with its regular proceedings.
Judge Frank Caprio, the 76-year-old magistrate renowned globally for his empathetic judgments, is managing his usual morning schedule: parking offenses, traffic citations, minor city violations. At precisely 10:15 a.m., the courtroom doors swing open slowly, and 82-year-old Robert Tank Johnson enters. Tank moves cautiously with his walking stick, each step intentional and controlled. He is dressed in a thick winter coat despite the heated courtroom, and his hands tremble slightly as he takes off his military-style cap. Tank is present for what appears to be the most ordinary case possible: a $75 parking fine for using a handicap spot without showing his permit. On the surface, this seems like it might require perhaps 3 minutes to settle. Pay the penalty, clarify the circumstances, continue with life. But everyone, before I reveal what occurs next, I must ask you something. From where are you viewing this amazing story?
Place your city and nation in the comments section below, because I am truly interested to see how globally this narrative is traveling. Are you watching from New York, London, Tokyo? Inform me down there.
As Tank nears the defendant's position, Judge Caprio instantly observes something most individuals would overlook. Despite his 82 years, despite requiring a walking aid, despite the clear fragility accompanying advanced age, this gentleman stands with completely impeccable military bearing, shoulders squared, head high, gaze direct. There is something undeniable about his demeanor. Once a Marine, forever a Marine. Robert Johnson, the court clerk announces, reading from the schedule. Tank advances as far as possible, holding his cane with both hands. Now, Judge Caprio glances down at the documents, then back up at Tank with those sympathetic eyes that have earned him worldwide recognition. Mr. Johnson, Judge Caprio starts, his tone soft yet formal. You are accused of parking in a handicapped space without displaying a handicap permit. The infraction happened on February 8th, around 2 p.m. outside the Veterans Administration Medical Center. The penalty is $75. Tank gives a slow nod. Yes, Your Honor. Now, Mr. Johnson, I note that you are 82 years old. Do you possess a disabled parking permit? Tank, and when he speaks, his tone has the distinct rhythm of a man who spent years issuing and following commands. Yes, Your Honor, I do have one. I simply forgot to display it that day. Now, folks, Judge Caprio has served as a judge for more than 3 decades. He has likely encountered this precise explanation hundreds of occasions. Typically, he would request to examine the permit, perhaps lower the fine if the individual indeed possesses one, and proceed to the next matter. Standard practice, nothing out of the ordinary, but something in Tank's tone, something in his delivery of those words, something in his overall bearing caused Judge Caprio to hesitate and look more intently. Could you describe your disability, Mr. Johnson? Assist me in comprehending the reason for the handicap permit. Tank moves uneasily. He glances down at his hands, then around the courtroom, then back up at Judge Caprio. For a prolonged moment, he remains silent. I would prefer not to talk about it, Your Honor. Judge Caprio places his pen down, always an indication he is preparing for a genuine human interaction rather than merely processing documents. He leans forward slightly, his voice growing even softer, more considerate. Mr. Johnson, I can perceive you are a proud individual. You comport yourself with honor and fortitude. But I also discern you are grappling with something. Then Judge Caprio performs an action that has become his hallmark. When he intuits someone is genuinely suffering, he rises from his seat and moves to the front, removing the official separation between judge and defendant. Tank, he says, and the use of what is clearly a nickname makes Tank's eyes widen in astonishment. May I address you as Tank? I can tell you are military, your posture, your bearing. And which branch did you serve? Tank's entire demeanor changes in that instant. His chest expands a little. His shoulders become even more squared. And for the first time since coming into the courtroom, a trace of a smile appears on his lined face. With pride, United States Marine Corps, Your Honor. 3 deployments, thoughtfully. 3 tours. Judge Caprio echoes. That is substantial service. Tank. Can you inform me where? Tank draws a deep breath. Vietnam, from 1968 to 1970. Then much later, Iraq from 2004 to 2005, and Afghanistan from 2007 to 2008. Wait, did you grasp that, folks? This 82-year-old man did not only serve in Vietnam in his 20s, after living a complete civilian life, after retiring, after reaching a time when most individuals are enjoying a calm retirement, he chose to return to combat areas. He served in Iraq in his 60s and Afghanistan in his 70s. And, folks, if this account is already affecting you emotionally, if you are beginning to grasp the extraordinary sacrifice this gentleman, please press that like button.
It truly assists the algorithm in promoting this narrative to additional individuals who should learn about Tank's duty and sacrifice. Judge Caprio is visibly affected by this disclosure. Surprised?
Tank, you defended our nation in 3 separate conflicts spanning 4 decades. Yes, sir. Honestly, thank you for your service. That's remarkable commitment to our country. Now, Tank, Judge Caprio goes on, his tone filled with esteem. Can you assist me in comprehending why you require the disabled permit? How can I support you today? Tank scans the courtroom once more.
There are perhaps 30 individuals in the audience, other accused persons awaiting their turn, court personnel, several journalists, some relatives of other cases.
His hands tremble more visibly as he clutches his cane. Your Honor, It's complex. Judge Caprio moves a step nearer. Tank, we are all companions here. There is no criticism in this courtroom. What is happening? Tank draws the deepest breath he has taken since coming into the courtroom. Very gradually, almost hesitantly, he starts pulling up the sleeves of his thick coat. What the courtroom witnesses next stuns everyone into complete quiet. Tank's arms are marked with scars. Severe, uneven scars from explosive fragments that recount the tale of combat experienced long ago. But that is not what causes Judge Caprio's eyes to open wide in astonishment. On Tank's right forearm, extending from his wrist nearly to his elbow, there is a tattoo different from any military tattoo anyone has ever observed. It is not a bird or an anchor or a banner. It is a record, a lengthy, sorrowful record of names in tiny, exact script. Tank. Tank, Judge Caprio, inquires, his voice hardly audible. Now, what are those names? Tank's voice cracks for the initial time. After many years of bearing this load quietly, after periods of concealing this suffering under long sleeves and winter coats, he is going to disclose his most profound reality. Those are my men, Your Honor. Every Marine I lost under my leadership. 47 names over 3 wars. I bear them with me wherever I travel. The courtroom is utterly still. You could detect a pin falling. Court officers who have witnessed everything are drying their eyes. Other accused individuals are gazing in respectful wonder. The court recorder has ceased typing just to hear, but Tank is not done unveiling his truth. The disabled permit, Your Honor. It is not for bodily injuries. Yes, my legs do not function as they once did, and my back is ruined from transporting equipment for so many years, but that is not the real reason I truly require it. It is for the days when the spirits are so noisy I can hardly operate. When I am experiencing a panic episode in a parking area and I must enter swiftly before I totally collapse in public. When the memories return so intensely that I cannot walk properly, cannot think clearly, cannot recall where I am or what time it is. Judge Caprio's eyes well up with tears. Tank, are you saying you suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder after defending our nation in 3 separate wars? Yes, sir. On most days I am okay. I wake up, I prepare my coffee, I perform my physical therapy routines, I go about my day, but on other days, the recollections of seeing my comrades perish, the noise of mortar shells, the scent of cordite and blood, that parking citation you possess, Your Honor. February 8th was among my most difficult days in recent memory. I was in my vehicle outside the Veterans Hospital experiencing flashbacks so intense I believed I was returned to Fallujah. My only thought was reaching my therapy session before I totally broke down. I overlooked the permit, overlooked the regulations, overlooked everything except obtaining assistance. What Judge Caprio does next is unprecedented in American judicial history. His actions defy every convention of courtroom procedure and forge an instant that will be recalled for all time. He approaches Tank, and gradually, intentionally, he starts taking off his black judicial gown. Tank, I want you to wear this in the courtroom. Tank appears bewildered, almost scared. Your Honor, I cannot do that. That is your robe. I am merely a person on trial. Judge Caprio's tone becomes resolute, yet laden with feeling. You are not merely a defendant. Tank, you are not merely anything. Put on the robe, Marine. With trembling hands, Tank lets Judge Caprio place the judicial robe over his shoulders. The weighty black cloth rests on his slight build, but somehow while wearing it, He seems more distinguished than ever. Then, Judge Caprio does something even more astonishing. Standing in his shirt sleeves in his own court, Judge Frank Caprio salutes Robert Tank Johnson, a federal judge saluting an accused man in his own courtroom. Ladies and gentlemen, Judge Caprio declares to the full courtroom, his voice reaching every part of the room, I want you to observe genuine American bravery. This man offered to defend our country not on one occasion, not on two occasions, but on 3 occasions spanning 6 decades of his existence. He bears the names of lost heroes on his body and their remembrance in his soul. He has given more for our liberty than the majority of us can possibly conceive. And he arrived here today concerned about a $75 parking fine. The whole courtroom of individuals are weeping, rising. Some are saluting together with Judge Caprio. The court officers are applauding. Other accused persons are standing. The noise of clapping occupies the courtroom for almost 2 entire minutes. Tank remains there in the judge's robe, tears moving down his worn face. Overcome by this acknowledgment he never anticipated and likely believed he did not merit. But Judge Caprio is not done. Tank, not only am I canceling this penalty entirely, but I am appointing you an honorary member of this court. Whenever you require aid, whenever the memories become too intense, whenever the bureaucracy lets you down, you contact us. This court will always support you. And Tank, those 47 names on your arm, they are not. It is no longer only your load to bear. This entire court family will assist you in carrying that burden. Everyone, I need to take a brief pause here. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, what is keeping you? Tales such as this one. Tales that show us the true meaning of heroism. Stories that rebuild our trust in people. This is the very reason this channel was created. Press the subscribe button immediately. The events that unfolded after this video was shared online will renew your belief in the strength of human empathy. In one day, the video had accumulated more than 5 million views. In 2 days, Tank had gotten over 10,000 messages from veterans, current service members, and ordinary people across the globe, all expressing gratitude for his service and sacrifice. A fundraising effort initiated by someone Tank had never met gathered over $500,000 designated for veteran PTSD programs in his honor. 3 large companies, IBM, Microsoft, and General Motors, reached out to Tank personally, presenting him with advisory roles to assist them in better understanding and aiding their veteran staff. The Department of Veterans Affairs utilized Tank's experience to introduce a new public information effort concerning mental health support for veterans. However, the most amazing aspect is this. Half a year later, Tank came back to Judge Caprio's court.
He was not there as a defendant on this occasion, but as a volunteer advisor, aiding other veterans in dealing with the legal system and accessing the support they require. Tank said to the press, thoughtful,
Judge Caprio did more than just cancel a parking citation that day. He made me remember that my service was important, that my comrades who did not return home were important, that I was not merely a damaged old man occupying room in the world. He provided me with a purpose to continue battling, not only for my own benefit, but for all the other veterans who are suffering quietly. Now, Tank gives talks at secondary schools and universities regarding military duty and veteran psychological wellness.
He has assisted more than 200 veterans in obtaining appropriate treatment and assistance, and he continues to bear those 47 names on his arm.
But currently, he also holds the understanding that their loss has significance and intention. And everyone,
I have one last question for you, and I sincerely want you to consider this and reply in the comments section. What is the most impactful deed of generosity you have ever seen?
When was an instance that someone demonstrated empathy that transformed a situation? Post your experiences in the comments because after learning about Tank and Judge Caprio, we all require more instances of positivity in this world. If this account affected you, if Tank's sacrifice and Judge Caprio's empathy reached your heart, pass this video along to somebody who requires hearing it now. Press like on this video if you support honoring our veterans. Subscribe for additional amazing human stories that show us what can happen when we select kindness over apathy. And do not forget, occasionally, the most impactful action we can take, it is simply to recognize an individual's dedication and inform them their efforts are important. Thank you for viewing, and I will meet you in the upcoming one.